You know the feeling, right? You get a brand new computer, it's blazing fast, and life is good. But then, over time, it just starts to drag. It's probably one of the most common frustrations we all face. And today, we're going to get to the bottom of exactly why that happens.
I mean, seriously, try to remember that first day. Pulling it out of the box, hitting that power button, and boom, it was on. Everything was just instant. So what on earth changed?
And yeah, this probably looks painfully familiar. A startup that goes from a few seconds to what feels like an eternity. Apps that used to pop open now just give you that little spinning wheel of doom. If you're nodding along right now, trust me, you are not alone.
But here's the big secret. Your computer isn't just getting old like a person does. There are actual specific things happening behind the scenes that cause this slowdown. And that's what we're going to do now. We're going to pull back the curtain and find the real culprits.
Okay, so our first stop is the world of software. We're talking about all the invisible stuff running on your machine that day by day quietly strangles your computer's performance without you even realizing it. And the number one offender here is something called software bloat. The funny thing is, it's usually a side effect of things getting better. Every time your favorite app gets an update with cool new features, it also gets heavier and demands more power from your system. The problem? Your hardware isn't getting any new features, it's staying the same.
You can see exactly how it happens. You install a new app and it's super lean and quick. But then the updates start rolling in, adding more stuff, which means it needs more resources to run. Before you know it, your computer's hardware is struggling to keep up with the software's new demands. And that's when everything starts to feel sluggish.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, think of all these programs that love to run in the background. Your antivirus, your cloud storage, those software updaters, they all launch the second you turn on your computer and just sit there, sipping on your memory and processing power, even when you're not using them. But it's not just the programs that are running. Over the years, your storage drive just collects so much digital junk. We're talking about temporary files, old caches, bits and pieces of uninstalled programs, all of it just sitting there, taking up space and doing nothing.
Now, this clutter affects drives differently. If you have an older style hard disk drive, an HDD, all that junk can cause your files to get fragmented or scattered into little pieces, which makes them way slower to open. And even if you have a modern solid-state drive, or SSD, which doesn't really fragment, all that junk is still eating up precious space and can slow things down.
All right, so that's the software side of things. But that's only half the story. Now we need to look at the physical stuff, the hardware itself, because it has its own set of problems that can kill your speed.
And one of the biggest hardware problems is called thermal throttling. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It's basically your computer's self-defense mode. When the brain of the computer, the CPU or GPU, gets too hot, it slams on the brakes and slows itself down so it doesn't get fried. It's a smart safety feature, but the result is a massive performance nosedive.
So what's causing all this heat? Is it some complex software you're running? A bad part? Nope. The number one cause, believe it or not, is just plain old dust.
And here's the domino effect. Dust gets sucked into your computer and starts to clog up the fans and the vents, the very things that are supposed to keep it cool. When the cooling system can't do its job, the important parts get hot. And when they get hot, your computer panics and throttles its own speed, all because of a little bit of dust.
Heat isn't the only physical issue, though. We also have to face a hard truth. The drive that stores all of your precious files and programs is physically wearing out every single day.
Yeah, just like the tires on your car, these things don't last forever. The old HDDs have little moving parts that spin around, and eventually they just wear down and fail. And even the newer SSDs have a limited lifespan. Their memory cells can only be written to so many times before they start to degrade. Either way you slice it, an old drive is a slow drive.
Okay, so that sounds like a lot of bad news, right? Software bloat, dust, aging hardware, but it's not a lost cause, not even close. Now for the fun part. Let's talk about how you can actually fight back and make your old computer feel young again.
But before we get into the techie fixes, we got to talk about something else, and that's you. It turns out that how you use your computer every day plays a massive role in how fast it runs.
So, be honest with yourself for a second. Are you a digital hoarder, installing tons of apps you never actually open? Is your web browser sagging under the weight of a dozen different extensions? And yeah, are you that person with like 30 browser tabs open right now? All of that stuff adds up and puts a huge strain on your system. The good news is the fix is pretty straightforward. Here's your action plan. First, go on a software diet. Uninstall anything you don't use.
Second, stop all those unnecessary apps from launching when you start your computer. Third, clean out all that digital junk. Fourth, and this is a big one, get a can of compressed air and physically clean out the dust. And finally, if you want the single biggest bang for your buck, replacing an old hard drive with a new SSD is a total game changer.
And really, that's what this all boils down to. We think our computers are slow because they're old, but that's not the whole story. The real enemy isn't time, it's neglect.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Is your computer actually slow and on its last legs? Or is it a perfectly good machine that's just buried under years of clutter, waiting for you to give it the tune-up it deserves? Because the power to make it fast again, it's probably in your hands.